Hello and welcome to another Vista tips and tricks video. In this video we're going to look at another effects request. In this little series I look at questions across Facebook and across YouTube and the forum to see who is struggling maybe to achieve a certain type of effect, and I try and make a video showing you how to do it. So today's effect is going to be a one-shot style effect, and what that means is every tap of the button will equal kind of one cycle of this effect. And the effect is to take a dimmer effect that will shoot from the bottom of these sunstrips up to the top and then stop again. So every time we hit our flash key, we get one kind of like dimmer swipe up these sunstrips. So first step is, as this is going to be a queued effect, I'm going to put it in a new queue. I'm going to label it Sunstrip Effects. And I'm going to give it a time of 1 second because this is going to be quite a quick queue. Next thing I'm going to do is build our effect. And to do that, the first thing we do is select some fixtures. And this is arguably the most important step when building an effect, because the fixture selection will denote how our effect runs across our fixtures. So we specifically want this effect to go from the bottom of our sunstrips up to the top of our sunstrips. So that is how I'm going to select them. Then I'm going to go to New Effect. I'm going to use a wave effect here, go to Intensity, and then hit OK. Now, as you can see, we've already achieved the right direction. Now, just to show you how easy it is to denote the fixture selection in Vista, if I now want to go from, say, right to left, I will select them right to left, and then just hit Update Selection down here. If I want it to go from top to bottom, select them top to bottom, hit Update Selection. Because of the graphical interface that Vista has, getting the right fixture selection is very, very easy and requires very little effort, especially across multi-celled fixtures like sunstrips. So we want to go from the bottom to the top, so we're going to do that, hit Update Selection, and we're already close to what we need. The next thing we're going to look at is the overlap of each step of this effect, so how it overlaps over our cells of our sunstrips. To do this, we're going to use the overlap feature here. Now, as I drag the overlap down, you see it gets less steppy, less smooth. So the steps are not overlapping at all at 0%, so we get a very flashy effect. As I bring it up, we get a little bit more of an overlap. And as you can see here, this is actually quite close to what we want. So let's go for around 60%. Now the next thing we have to solve is we have the right direction, we have the right kind of overlap, but at the moment we're still going left to right as we ascend the sunstrips. What we want it to do is go up in unison. We want it to go up in kind of like rows of 8. So in Vista terms, we'll call this blocking. So we want a blocking of 8 as we go up our cells. So we go down to our blocking tool here, type in 8, and now we have rows of 8 going up, still following the same overlap, still following the same fixture selection order, except now we have 8 sunstrips, so we're going up in cells of 8. So we're almost there. The next thing we're going to look at is the stagger of this effect. So overlap looks at the overlap of each kind of cell or each fixture in the effect. The stagger kind of looks at the cycle of the whole effect. And you'll see this as I bring the stagger down, we get more of a gap between the start and the end of the whole effect. And I think we want to go down to around 45 maybe. And let's take the overlap to 50. I think that's pretty close. Now obviously this is going to be kind of a swiping effect. So we're going to speed this up. So I'm going to type in 80 BPM. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So our effect is essentially there. We're swiping from the bottom of our sunstrips to the top of our sunstrips. But all we need to do now is make this a one-shot. So we get one cycle of this before we press the button again to give us another cycle. And this is all going to be controlled via the queue itself. So we're going to have to play with a few of the queue list properties, and we're going to also use an insert command. So first thing we're going to do is go to our timeline. we want this effect to trigger straight away in 0 time. So, but we still want the queue to be long enough to allow 1 cycle before we release this queue. So to do that, we're going to grab our fixtures with our effect, and we're going to drag it to 0 time. So now when we hit play, the effect will automatically come in straight away. The next thing we're going to do is put in a release command. So after 1 cycle of this effect, we want this queue to basically release, turn itself off, wait for another press of the flash key. So to do that, we're going to go to insert command, we're going to go to release, and we're going to release this list. So in essence, this list is releasing itself when it gets to the end. So we're going to drag this to the end of our queue. So we have the effect at the beginning of our queue, time to give it 1 cycle, and then a way to release it. Now the only thing we need to go into now is the queue list properties. Now if this is going to be playing over other lists, I would make this high priority, and I would also think about using exclude from store as well, in case this is running for some reason and you don't want this to be stored into any other looks. We're going to go to timing, and now release timing is probably the most important thing we're going to deal with, and we want to make this 0. So when this queue releases itself, it immediately stops. It will snap off again, giving us 1 cycle of this effect or 1 hit of this effect. Now we just hit OK, and we can test it. So if we hit play, see, the queue is slightly too long. We get 2 cycles of this effect before we release. So let's take this queue to 0.5. Now if we go again, we get 1 cycle, and then it stops, effectively giving us the effect every time we hit go. Right, all we have to do now is close, label it, we'll call it Sunstrip Effects, save it, and then stick it on a button. So we're going to drag it onto our console, and now when we hit play, as you can see, every time we hit play, we get another instance of it. So this is how I would build a one-shot effect of this style. Hopefully this has helped you out. Please let me know if there's any other questions about this effect or any others. Give me a comment in the YouTube video, on the forum, or on Facebook. See you in the next video.